I'll never ask someone to do something that I'm not prepared to do myself. And you know, there's, when it comes to leadership, right, or being part of a team, doing what we're doing, I can't lead someone somewhere I've never been, right? We'll all be lost at some point if I do that, right? So it's, the best thing is, you know what, I'm familiar with the terrain. Follow me. And a lot of times when I meet with new people, we have that conversation, right? I won't ask, are you done yet? I won't ask, have you hit rock bottom? Because it's like, how do I know if I've hit rock bottom? But I'll come alongside people and say, have you had enough? You know, are you done yet? Because if you're done, walk with me for a while, right? And whether that's here, whether it's in the community or wherever, it's just, if you're done, walk with me. And it's as simple as that. That's all I'm asking people here to do is, you know what, for the time that you're here, just walk with us. Because every person who's involved in our program and part of our leadership team, they have a recovery journey or a recovery experience. They're either in recovery themselves or they're in a relationship with someone who's in recovery. You're hard pressed to find anyone or a family whose lives haven't been affected in some way by addiction. So, yeah. On my best days, I wake up and I surrender my day, my will, my life, my illness, my family, my team, the people that I work with throughout the day. I surrender all of that stuff. And then I kind of look up to my God conscious or God or higher power, creator, whatever you want to call them, and surrender my day to them. And then I'll say, like, in your will, whatever you want to have happen today, beautiful. And then I just kind of go about my day. It's so simple. And then at the end of each day, I kind of look up and say, thanks, that was amazing. I have this huge ego and I exaggerate my importance and I've got lots of opinions that you need to hear. It goes hand in hand with comparing myself with others. And when I compare myself to you, who's better and who's worse? If I'm the one who's judgmental and grandiose.
You're worse. Or you would be worse.
I'm either worse or I'm way better. Yeah.
You're still trying to prove a point to somebody else that doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's cute, Jarvis. I remember when I was like you, right? And it looks, that was an example of what, right? I pat Jarvis and say, is it okay that I'm patting you on the shoulder? I pat Jarvis on the shoulder when he says something, oh my gosh. I remember when I was your age and I said a lot of things, you remind me of me. So, and what I'm doing is I'm letting Jarvis know that in a very subtle way, not only am I judging him, I'm better than, and this is a growth spurt that I too had to experience. And you know, you just keep doing what you're doing, Jarvis. You're gonna do great one day, just like this guy with 2 thumbs. Who's doing great and has 2 thumbs? This guy. I'm very concerned with what you think of me. If I'm judgmental and hand in hand with grandiose, I'm miserable. I don't necessarily try to understand. I don't even really care. But yeah, I'm gonna compare myself to you, and I'm gonna be either really a lot better than you, or much worse than you. And either way, you're lower and less than when it comes to me, right? All we're looking at are the symptoms, or these are the attitudes of someone who we would classify or characterize as having the dry drunk syndrome, right? So they're grandiose, they're judgmental, but not only that, they're also impatient. You know, there's a word that we use. Have you ever heard this before? One of the things that you'll see, the more kind of looking into the whole world of chemical dependency, substance use, substance misuse, addiction, alcoholism, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing, you know, and the symptoms are the same. Some people would say that it's some kind of trauma in people's lives. There's other people that say there's a genetic component to the illness itself. But what you were saying about the void, and it really, what it comes down to for us is that it's a feelings disease, or it's a feelings illness. And as simply put as possible, it's, I don't like how I'm feeling and I want that gone, right? So people in my world, we don't like discomfort. We don't like feeling pain. We don't like feeling hurt. And so rather than learning coping mechanisms and how to process that in a healthy way, I just learned that if I take a certain drink or a drug, the uncomfortable feelings are gone, you know? And so that's why you'll see so many people that go on pain medication or something like that. And the thing about pain or pain management or narcotics, painkillers, is that they're very good at what they do. So whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, all my pain is gone. So we see that now, right? Where there's this, you know, crisis or epidemic of people who are addicted to pain medication. And to me, it makes perfect sense. It's because no one wants to feel uncomfortable. And so as quickly as I can, I want to remove that. So what do we replace it with? One of the things that we kind of get our folks here to walk through are, I'm not very good at relationships, and this void that I have from, I used to mood alter with either a chemical or a behavior, and what do we replace that with? And in one word, I would say community. We replace that with community. So things like the symptoms of people who struggle with chemical dependency, all the same, right? Low self-esteem, compulsive. So I'm uncomfortable in my own skin. I do things compulsively, and so how we talk about that here is I do things that have a negative consequence, or I do things that are harmful to me, and then someone will say, like, you're harming yourself, and it's like, I never really thought about that, right? Are you going to stop? And it's like, no, not a chance. So I do things compulsively that have a negative consequence. Normal people in my life say, why are you still doing this? And it's like, I don't have the answer for you. And so we replace all of those things that are the symptoms of chemical dependency with community and things like building new relationships, building healthy relationships. Part of that is learning how to communicate with other people. Part of that is building self-esteem into the folks that come into our care here. And we give them opportunities where their self-esteem will improve.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, everything that we do here, it's intentional and it's on purpose. There's a reason why we do what we do, and there's a reason in the how, the method in which we do it.
I thought it was only 30 days.
Some people like Tony, when he phones, it's like, how long is your program? It's like probably 30 days.
I didn't ask, so that was my fault.
Oh, and look at that.
First time I went to treatment, I went for a program that was shorter, and
Yeah.
it was a 42 program, and I think it was at Bridgeway in Kelowna, and
Yeah.
it served me no purpose really. I mean, it served the purpose. It got me sober for 42 days, but
Yeah.
I didn't get it was a lot crammed into a short period of time.
Mm.
I find it, like, from experience, because I've been to a couple,
Yeah.
that it's like you don't really start to feel proper in 42 days. Like you're just starting to feel healthy again.
That's a really good point. And one of the like if someone phones me and says, how long's your program? I'm not going to give them a certain number of days. Because if you told me when I went to treatment, if you would have told me, hey, you know what? It's like a 83-day program. I go in and I spend my first day, I go to bed that night, I wake up, and on my calendar, do you know what I do?
82 more days.
Count them.
82 more days and I'm done. It's a countdown, right? And I honestly believe, here's the confusing part. I had a friend go to a 10-day outpatient program. So it's like Monday to Friday, weekend, Monday to Friday, and it's during the day. And I don't think he's happy, and I don't think he does much for his recovery. But somehow he's still sober. So if my goal is to deal with the 15% where it's just about the chemical or behavior that I'm addicted to, I think you can be successful that way. But if you really want to work on the 85% that we do here, that takes time. Maybe I've spent the first 2 weeks complaining about how many carbs we eat and why it's so cold in the gym. It's like, ooh, can we not afford a heater? It's like we're trying to raise some money for the heater, trust me. But it's like, I complain. It's like, you know, I'm freezing cold and it's like, all I can see are things I don't like and things I want to change. Then week 3, 4, and then 5 happens. And there's a shift and there's a change, and it's like they seem more grounded, then they seem more calm. They're more open to feedback. They find a voice and they're starting to give feedback. So there's a really subtle shift that happens, but it happens, and it's usually around that 4 to 5 week mark. So if I'm in a 30-day program, for me, I think the best part of it for me is that I don't have to be someone different here. I could be the same person at home, same person on, my slow pitch team or my hockey team. Like, I don't have to change where I am, and that's all all comes from experience. I think authenticity. I think transparency. I know, I'm fully aware that our folks that we work with have their own stuff, and so I don't ever want my stuff to get in the way of what they're working through. But I think it's kind of like leadership or leadership development. I think there's a lot of people in leadership positions that really and truly believe that they're leading, but if they would stop and look behind them, they'd see no one following them, and that's not really leadership. That's more, they're not leading, they're just taking a walk, kind of a thing, right? So being able to have the experiences and sort of knowing some of the things that the folks who are early in their recovery are facing, having someone, like you said, having someone who's on the same journey, maybe just at a different place in the journey. But I looked, that's one of the things in early recovery that I did. I surrounded myself with winners, people that I looked at them and thought to myself, I want what they have, and not necessarily material things, but peace and serenity. They're comfortable in their own skin. And so I, and again, like, I try to live my life that way, where it's like, I still do the things today that I did in early recovery, right? I still have the same routines that I did back then, and I'm a firm believer that if I keep doing the things that got me well today, I'll stay well. Because I know a lot of people, I've lost a lot of people. There's lessons in it for me. People that get into recovery, stop doing anything, the depression kicks back in, they go back out, and sometimes they don't ever come back. So the best thing I can do to be good at my job and to have a healthy personal life and family life and all of those things is to keep working my recovery, Yeah. So, and people that are on the same journey, like, I think from the perspective of the clients or the folks that come into our program, you can tell when someone has lived experience or they've learned everything out of a textbook or something like that. And it just makes the conversations that much easier, where you won't hear people say something where you gasp in shock and go, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe you said that. It's like, oh yeah, I've been there, feelings of hopeless and worthless and useless. I can totally relate. And then that conversation that happens around that, and like you said, it's some of the best people doing this line of work their own recovery so they stay healthy. And now, because I do that, I have something that I can offer the people that are in my world today.
I see.
Yeah.
Ultimately, why do you think you're doing it? You're here. Why do you think every day you get up and that's what you choose to, how you choose to use your time?
Yeah.
And for what reason are you doing this?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question that I've never had to really spend a lot of time asking myself.
Well, no, it's because we're doing something that's called the reason why. So why?
The reason why, that's a good question. But you know what? Today was like yesterday, and yesterday was just like the day before. When almost every day, when I drive to work in the morning, I have this kind of conversation out loud that in the conversation I say, you know what, thank you so much for the opportunity to do something, for a job or for work that I really enjoy. I'm so grateful to be able to do what I do for a living. Unbelievable, right? I get to see people come in desperate, broken, absolutely at their bottom, and watch the change happen in front of my eyes. Not with everyone, but with a lot of people. And the reason why I do what I do today is, it's a long story, but I had another job before I did this. I had little private treatment program. It was an outpatient program, about 2.5 years. So I'd kind of pulled some things together, and I knew that we had a program that was effective. For some reasons outside of my control, that came to an end really abruptly, and then things happened where I was able to get a job doing what I'm doing now. But in my old job, I'd been in recovery for a few years, and I just had this sense of there's other people struggling exactly the way I was struggling, and so if I can in some way share the gift that I've been given of recovery with other people, why would I not do that? Then an opportunity came up for that to happen, and and I've been doing what I'm doing now for about 11 years here with Turning Points.
11 years old. That's solid.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it as much today as I did. I remember when this place first started, we had no furniture. Other community supports donated the furniture and things. But I remember sitting around a picnic table right over there with 3 of us, and we had 12 beds ready, and we sat there looking at who wants to work what day, and do you think anyone's going to come? And it's like, I don't know, maybe we'll be ready if they do, right? But we made 12 beds. It's like, yeah, and now we've had over 400 plus people come through, and we've been able to hire some of the people that came through. I absolutely love what I get to do for a living. Yeah. And it all started for me like 22 years ago is when my journey started.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about, we don't have to, but do you want to talk about some of your experience before? Or
Sure.
We don't have to, but just
Yeah.
if you...
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay. What kind of things did you go through yourself? Not necessarily naming everything, but
Yeah.
if you...
Sure. So in a nutshell, for me, my recovery journey started 22 years ago. I had a job where I worked. I did a lot of work. I think it was for 16 years I worked with students and families. So I was in one of those professions. It was in a church setting, and I worked with students and families. So it was my job to come alongside students and kind of help them with things that they were struggling with, and did a lot of work with families and things. And it was good, but one of the things that sort of resurfaced in my life was I don't think in my life I've ever drank like a normal person, right? Normal people fascinate me. It's like I could watch normal people for a very long time, just in fascination, right? And for me, it's never been apparent. I didn't know it at the time, but there was nothing normal about the way that I would drink even as a teenager. And so then I got into a job that, again, I really liked, working with students and families. I loved it. The problem was that I have this sort of dark side of me that I don't know what to do with, but I'm in a job where I'm supposed to have my life together and help others. And so no one knew what was going on except my family. So then 23 years ago, I was actually doing the same thing at a place really close to where we are now. And things were getting out of hand, and I had experienced things like some surgeries that required painkillers. And I say it this way on purpose, that's where my love affair with painkillers kicked in. And here's an idea of how I have no idea what's going on. So I'm speaking to this large group of people about trials and struggles and things like that. And I actually say, I have my notes I could show you in my notes that I have this written in my notes. Still no red flags, but I'm standing in front of 1,000 plus people telling them that my new best friend is morphine. Yeah. And and people in recovery are looking at me and their heads tilt, and everyone else is laughing. And I have no idea what's going on in my life as it starts to spiral out of control. And things like I wasn't a daily drinker. but as long as I knew the weekends were coming, or there was going to be a time that I could sort of escape the pressures of life, escape, some of the uncomfortable feelings that I had going on. As long as I knew that I could escape, yep, I could get through the week mostly. And again, the only people that knew anything wasn't right were my wife and my kids. And so things kind of came to a point where I needed help, like the depression and all of that stuff that we had talked about earlier kind of was kicking in, and it's like I have to do something because I don't know how much longer I'm going to live if I, feeling like a fake, feeling like a phony, and I hate who I am, I hate what I'm doing, but like we talked about this morning, I can't do it on my own, right? So I kind of came to my wife and I said, I'm in trouble, I need help. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm meeting with someone at Denny's who looks at me and says, oh my gosh, you're an alcoholic and you need help. And he introduced me to the world of recovery. I didn't understand anything when I got into it 22 years ago. And, there's still a lot of things that I don't understand. But in that moment, it's like I'm willing to do whatever I'm going to be asked to do because this is what I want. And then I have to mention too, I think if that happened to me today, in that setting, and I came to a group of people that I was responsible to, the leadership, and said, hey, I can't stop drinking and drugging, and I don't know what to do. I think if it happened today, I'd be fired in a heartbeat. And there was something, here's the thing, right? Like the further I get away from that moment 20 whatever years ago, the bigger my miracle seems. So the right people in the right place, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing because you have to remember, like when you're in that situation, the amount of shame, guilt, and remorse, and it's like, I hate what's happening, I don't know what to do, and I just feel lost. And I met with a group of people and all they said was this, they looked at me and this is what they said. I'm expecting like, get out and go whatever, like we're done with you. And they looked at me and they said, number one, we love you. Number two, if you had a broken arm, we'd send you to the hospital to get it fixed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you to a place, kind of just like this, to go get well, go work on you. Don't worry about your wife, don't worry about your kids, don't worry about your family. We'll take care of all of that. All you have to do is just go down and work on you, right? We love you, we care about you, and wish you all the best. And then they said, if you come back and nothing's changed, we'll worry about it then. So I had this huge sense of relief and this huge sense of I'm being supported and cared for and loved through this entire process. But that's kind of what it looked like for me. And I know for a fact that it still happens today with people that call me and it's like they're just fired or they're terminated, and it's like, man, I was given such an amazing gift, so many years ago, and I don't ever take that for granted. So the last 20 years, has been, I came back and I was able to stay there and work for 3 or 4 more years, and what ended up happening was I had a chance there to share kind of my story, a little bit of my story anyway. And the response was just overwhelming. And what ended up happening was I started getting like 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls a week from people whose lives have been affected by addiction. And so this is like 2 years in, 2-3 years in kind of a thing. And this overwhelming sense of people reaching out to me where I was having a hard time doing what I was getting paid to do and sort of help people in this process understand and then get help and things like that. So there was a point where it's like I really feel this sense of everything that you've been doing up till now, great. We're going to move a different direction now. And I remember when I resigned, again, it was a really emotional experience because they were so supportive the entire way. But I remember standing and saying to people that, you know what, I'm not the only one who needs this gift, that needs this whatever, and I want other people to experience the same thing that I've experienced. And so I just didn't know at the time that when I resigned that I'd be, we'd open up a place called Bill's Place that I'd be working here 200 yards from where I stood and resigned, right? So, yeah. So, amazing, absolutely. I look back and it's like, oh my gosh, like,
Crazy.
yep.
Thanks so much for sharing this.
Yeah, oh, you're welcome. And my life isn't all, can I say and giggles? Like, is it,
Yeah,
you can edit out
yeah,
whatever
there's
you want.
stuff we'll
My,
use for sure.
my life today isn't all like mountaintop experiences by any means, but it's this amazing balance of, you know, every day at some point I experience peace and serenity. And one of the common things that I'll see throughout my days, and at the end of the night when I put my head on my pillow, I have so much gratitude around, you know, my life today. I absolutely love my life today, you know, and it hasn't all been pleasurable. There's been pain and there's been stuff I've had to work through, but I'm so grateful for where I'm at in my life today. And you know, if that's what I had to experience in order to be where I'm at today, oh, I don't ever want to relive those experiences, but I'm so grateful for where I'm at today. So grateful. I love my life, and everything in my life that's positive today is a result of being in recovery. 100%.
And this was golden.
I never even got to tell you about my friends that
Okay, well, let's cut the cameras for a second.